Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Nicola Donnelly, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Captain Nick Tate. This evening, we warmly welcome the family of Private Edward William Redfern, whose story will be told shortly. This evening, we are honoured to acknowledge Major General Aboud, Canadian Forces Intelligence Command and Chief of Defence Intelligence, Canada, and the accompanying delegation. We also warmly welcome Ms. Pauline Gribble, representing the Naval Association of Australia. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of training ship Canberra. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If you require a seat, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Edward William Redfern. Edward Redfern was born on the 7th of April 1896 in Newcastle, New South Wales. Known as Teddy, he was the eldest of 9 children born to Edward William Redfern Sr. and his wife Edgecombe Selwood, though 2 of their children died in infancy. The family lived in Newcastle throughout Teddy's childhood, where he attended the Cooks Hill Public School and the Newcastle East Public School. Teddy began working as a cashier at the Strand Street Butchery in Newcastle and was a member of the Naval Reserves. Teddy enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force at Liverpool Camp on the 13th of October 1914. He was allotted to reinforcements of the 13th Battalion with the rank of private and commenced initial training. Private Redfern departed Australia on the 22nd of December 1914 on the troop ship Berrima, bound for Egypt. Teddy arrived in Egypt in early 1915 and began training in preparation for the upcoming attack in the Dardanelles. As part of the 4th Brigade, he and the 13th Battalion landed at Anzac Cove late on the afternoon of the 25th of April 1915. Over the next few months, they were heavily involved in establishing and defending the Australian front line. The battalion spent most of the period alternating between manning the trenches at Quinn's Post and Pope's Hill, and resting in reserve at Monash Gully and Reserve Gully. In early August, Allied forces launched an attack on the Ottoman positions on Gallipoli, hoping to break the deadlock that had rapidly evolved on the peninsula. While other Australian units launched a diversionary attack at Lone Pine and attacked the next day, the 4th Infantry Brigade was ordered to capture Hill 971 on the night of the 6th of August. By dawn the next morning, the 13th Battalion was well short of their objective, having veered too far left during the approach. By the end of the day, the battalion had sustained 34 casualties, including 15 men wounded in action. Teddy Redfern had sustained a gunshot wound to his left leg during the fighting on the 7th of August. Although his wound was initially not reported as being serious, he was evacuated for treatment at No. 21 General Hospital in Alexandria. Despite receiving medical attention for his wound, over the next few months, Teddy's condition deteriorated. By mid-November 1915, he was considered dangerously ill, and the fracture on his femur was failing to heal. Private Edward William Redfern died of his wounds at 1:30 a.m. on the 26th of November 1915. He was 19 years old. His grieving family in Australia inserted a short commemorative poem in the local paper in Teddy's honour. We pictured our son and brother returning and longed to clasp his hand, but God has postponed our meeting. It will be in a better land. Anzac hero. Redfern's remains were buried at Chatby War and Military Cemetery in Alexandria, Egypt. His name is listed on the roll of honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Edward William Redfern, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.